Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Tuesday. It's May 14th. It is 2024. We have an 11-game MLB slate to talk about here on today's podcast. And for the second straight day, we got our good buddy Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, what's happening, my friend?
I'm happy to be here on this show with you tonight. I promise I'm not going to be a Debbie Downer, so I'm not even going to talk about how this thing went today in the prop streets. Just going to say, hey, man, I'm definitely ready to turn the page and get it going for this slate yet again.
Yeah. Always fun, right? Like at the end of the day, always fun. You know, you're gonna win every slate. I'm not gonna lie, like I wasn't in the best mood, and then like the Brewers were like, "Hey, I'm gonna hit your run total in one at bat." So, but yeah, I mean, we'll have to kind of see how everything plays out. In general, kind of sweating Soriano a little bit. He has 3 Ks through the first 3 innings. That's a good start for him. So, hopefully he can keep it rocking. But you know, baseball is a high variance sport. I talk about it all the time. If you hit 33% of the time, you're going to go in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you know, over a 15, 20-year career, if you hit 33% of the time, you're a Hall of Famer. And you got to remember that, you know, amazing spots don't always work out. And you got to see
on
how
both
it works out.
sides. Both sides.
Yeah, for sure. So we got 11 games. It was a 12-game slate. Be careful on that because of the postponed game. They're saying like they're not going to score the Chicago White Sox and Washington game. So
sad.
Make sure.
Too.
What's that?
So sad because I really want to attack flexing today. Just so sad.
Yeah. So make sure you don't do that. Don't, you know, as much as you want to click some of those names and play those Washington bats like we talked about yesterday on the podcast, don't do that because they're not going to score any fantasy points. And you really, you know, at the end of the day, you need to score some fantasy points to have a chance, right? So
yeah.
All right, let's jump in and have some fun. Chat saying Yamamoto dead already. Giants going off here a little bit. Matos just hit a home run. All right. They are red.
It's just been one of those days, bro. That's all it like. If this is our one day this week, I'll take it. Like I'll take this one day to sweep the rest.
I mean, it happens. I mean, that's the thing. So, all right, let's get in and have some fun. We got 11 games, a lot to talk about. We start with Tampa Bay at my Red Sox taking on Nick Pivetta, Aaron Savali, 8.5 total, 120 for favorite here for Tampa, or no, for Boston. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Any interest here in Savali?
No. He's just been really bad recently, Stevie, and it's not working for him. Another huge slate. I don't want to reach with Savali. Going to see a lot of lefties in this lineup. He gets a pass for me.
Yeah, he's been struggling. And that's like the biggest concern for me is like the struggles for him right now. And like Boston is a team that is very beatable just in general. And like if you wanted to take some shots on him in large field tournaments, I don't know if I necessarily would talk you off of it. But with his struggles recently, his Ks, you know, just overall, just really struggling. And like that was against some bad teams too. Like he struggled in 2 outings against like the White Sox. And like Eflin pitched okay. He had a bad first inning. Eflin had a really bad first inning against my Sox on Monday night. But like overall, him and Crawford bounced back after the first inning. But like Eflin had, I think, like 2 strikeouts. So like you're just worried about the overall ceiling with Savali here. Other side of this game, we got Nick Pivetta. Came back last week and threw 58 pitches. Kind of expect him to be in the like 70, 75 range here. I don't think he gets a full workload. It wouldn't shock me if he gets a full workload, but I don't think he gets a full workload here.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm going to fade him. I haven't really been as afraid of Tampa Bay overall this season, Stevie. Now the K rates seem to be coming down, and that's because I think they got some other guys back in the lineup. Some of the other guys they were just striking out a ton. But in terms of Pavetta at this price, he probably needed to be 6,500 for me to consider him today. Only because, Stevie, I'm with you. I don't think he goes past 80 at all. I think it's 75.
I don't want to play Pavetta today. If he was fully stretched out and we knew he was going to pitch his 90-plus pitch like limit here, I would play him in a heartbeat at 8,200 against Tampa Bay. They strike out a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of upside in this matchup. If we do get some kind of alert today saying like, hey, Pavetta, is expected to throw 85-plus pitches, I'm in. 85 is my number. 85 plus, I would pay 8,200 for Nick Pavetta. I like the strikeout upside in this matchup, but overall, I'm probably going to stay away from him because I really highly doubt we get that. I really highly doubt we get that news today. So
yeah, I'm with you.
All right, let's talk about bats. I mean, I definitely respect Pavetta enough where I don't have a ton of interest in the Tampa bats here. Like Pavetta is a guy that does struggle with home runs. So I mean, if you want to take a shot on like a Josh Lowe, a Rosarina, and just chase the home runs, I think that's what you're kind of doing against Pavetta is maybe just one-offing here and, chasing that home run.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I'm going to put him up in Tampa Bay for what it's worth, but I'm with you. I don't mind that call. I think 75 pitches for Pavetta puts him somewhere in the 4 to 5 innings range, and then we get bullpen. And so I'm okay with the Tampa Bay fade. They're not my favorite offense today by any stretch.
And then on the Boston side, I mean, Savali has been struggling. So, like, if you wanted to attack him here, I mean, it's the same guy I mentioned yesterday. It's Tyler O'Neill. I know he took.
I think he hit a home run today.
He did. He had a 3-run homer. It's Abreu, it's Devers, it's O'Neill. It's like that little like 3-man stack. Duran has been really good, but like any of like the top 5 guys, because like Connor Wong has been hitting up in the top of the order. Any of the 5 guys, but Savali, when he struggles, it's usually lefties. But Tyler O'Neill is having a fantastic season, so I don't mind playing the righty-righty matchup there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not afraid of Savali right now, man. And I just Tyler O'Neill, while the strikeouts have been there, Stevie, the power. I mean, we've just seen it really consistently, Stevie, over this season. And if he keeps hitting like this, if his strikeouts can come down some, he's probably going to have a really nice home in Boston. Don't hate Devers. Obviously, we've talked about Connor Wong as well, as long as he gets a start. As long as he gets to start, which I think he will. Interesting young team here. They definitely got younger, and I like what we're seeing from them. And I may, Stevie, probably run some mini stacks of Boston today just to really test and see if Savali's still struggling. Because, I mean, he's been so bad. I want to make sure I have some exposure just in case they touch him up again.
All right, moving on. Do you ever like forget that you won tickets in the contest and like so glad that like FanDuel sent me a action required email because I have a bunch of tickets that I won for some tournament tomorrow. I haven't even looked, but I totally would have forgot. If they didn't send me that email, 100% would have forgot. So thank you, FanDuel. I appreciate you. Cubs, Braves, 8 total in this one. Atlanta, 188 favorite. We got Jameson Taillon going up against Chris Sale. Any interest here in Taillon?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's Atlanta. It's a tough matchup. He's coming off of one of his best starts of the year against Milwaukee. I mean, Taillon is like when he's on, like he's a really solid pitcher. The price tag is interesting, but like the strikeouts. I know he struck out 7 against Milwaukee last time out, but like he has a 17% K rate on the season. He only had a 21% K rate last year. I need more strikeouts than that on an 11-game slate.
Here's what I will say to add into my distinct no. Shota Imanaga is probably the best pitcher on their pitching staff. Have been pitching exceptionally this season, Stevie. 3% walk rate. Walked 3 guys today in Atlanta. gave up tons of hits. Now, look, Stevie, all those hits and walks did not turn into a massive amount of runs. But my point is, Jameson Taillon is not Shota Imanaga. And he's not going to pick up 7 or 8 strikeouts today. Well, I take that back. I don't think he's going to pick up 7 or 8 strikes today. And if he walks 3 bats and gives up 6 or 7 hits, I have to assume the Braves have scored 4 or 5 runs on Jameson Taillon. Shota got out of it pretty nicely, Stevie. Like, the strikeouts really ran his fantasy point total up, but that's not Jameson Taillon.
And how dare you call him Shota? It's Shota. That's what we're going to call him here on the morning grind. Listen, I get it. But on the morning grind, he's Shota. Like, his arm is shot out of a cannon. Like, it's a joke. Right. And I love it. I'm just saying. Chris Sale, my second favorite pitcher on the slate. And the other one is really expensive too. I mean, we're going to be searching for some value at pitcher today for sure, because we can't go all in on these top end guys. But Cease, Gray, and Sale and Blanco, like, yes, please. I mean, like, any of those guys could be 1A today. Chris Sale, fantastic spot here against the Cubs. I mean, he has a 30% K rate, and he just keeps going. At least 7 strikeouts now in 4 of his last 5 starts and 5 of 7 starts this season. I mean, it's just Chris Sale looks like Chris Sale. So it's funny. My daughter had a volleyball tournament this weekend at a place that, like, I grew up playing baseball. Like, behind there used to be like the Cleveland Indians baseball spring training stadium, and they've tore it down since I was a kid and stuff. And one of the longest balls I ever saw hit, I think I was like 12 or 13. I watched Chris Sale hit one out dead center there one time, and it was like 420, 425. So fun story about Chris Sale. What are your thoughts here on Sale?
Yeah, man. I mean, one of the things I liked about Sale, Stevie, is, and I'm saying this, hopefully people understand what I'm saying, and I will try to explain it more clearly. It just feels like he's back, right? Do you get what I'm saying, Stevie?
I mean, he looks really good.
Yeah, like, for instance, the past couple seasons, Chris Sale has kind of had the strikeout stuff, but we always felt like this injury was just looming behind him, and they pulling for an elbow or pulling for a forearm or something, right? And it just feels like right now, it feels like he's healthy, feels like he's dominant, right? You know, it feels like he's in control of the game. And I just feel like we haven't seen that for a stretch. Now, God, I'm hoping that he just continues to pitch well. And so that's what I'm saying. And I mean, the numbers back it up. Like, the K rates are there, don't get me wrong. But I just kind of want to say that, like, it feels like he's back. And if he's all the way back the way it seems to me, not just because he's in a Braves uniform, then he can pitch against anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. And that's how I feel about him at 10K. I mean, we've seen the strikeouts, Steve. I feel like he's pushing 6 or 7 strikeouts in practically, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Stevie, 6, 7 straight games. It looks like 7 or more strikeouts. I mean, we can't ask for anything better than that. Love what I'm seeing from Sale. Definitely with you in terms of one of the top options today.
Remember when we talked about Brian Reynolds' advanced stats looking a lot better than, like, his surface stats? He just hit a home run.
Yeah, of course.
Sale, yeah, Chris Sale looks fantastic. His breaking ball stuff is some of the best in baseball this year, like, just in general. His hard hit rate is fantastic. His chase rate is almost 37%. It's top 3% in baseball. His average exit velocity is top 4% in baseball. His hard hit rate is top 10% in baseball. Like, he's
back. He's back.
Yeah, he's just having a fantastic year. His whiff rate, his slider, and, like, I don't know if it's just like the Braves are okay with, like, him just throwing a ton of sliders, but I mean, he's throwing it 43% of the time this year, and it has almost a 40% whiff rate. It's wild. Yeah, I mean, overall, love Sale. I don't necessarily have a ton of interest in the Cubs bats here. I mean, Suzuki, Morel, like, these guys are really good hitters, and they hit left-handed pitching really well, but I think this is a spot you're just going to stay away from the Cubs bats.
For sure. I'm with you 100%.
Now, what are we doing with Atlanta? I think this is the interesting thing. Like, Taillon's a solid pitcher, and he does a really good job. at limiting power, and my issue is like he doesn't necessarily have the stuff to attack this lineup, but I don't know if he's necessarily going to get blown up either. I'm on the fence on what I want to do with the Braves. I think I'm going to let ownership kind of dictate what I'm going to do with the Braves. Like if the Braves are going to be low owned, I'll stack them. If they're going to be somewhat popular on an 11-game slate, I'll fade them. I mean, I think I'm just going to kind of play the ownership game when it comes to Atlanta today.
Yeah, and I totally get that, Stevie. I think for me, it's a situation where and I know this isn't last season or the season before that. Like, I get it. I just kind of want some Braves exposure every day, especially if they're not facing like a super dominant pitcher, because they could rattle off 10 runs against anyone or any team. And so that's really all it is for the Braves. I personally don't think they blow up Tyon either, but I also don't want to not have any exposure to them. Like, maybe call it FOMO, Steve. I think this is my FOMO moment, or where I will express some FOMO. I don't want to miss out on the Braves ever as my hometown team going off, and I just ignored them one day. I was going to say I wouldn't be able to live with myself, but you know what I'm saying? Like that, those are the heartbreakers. You know your team's good. You should stack them every day, and then the one day you don't, they score 20 runs. So that's my reasoning behind my Brave stack. Hopefully that helps someone.
All right, Pittsburgh at Milwaukee. We got Quinn Priester against Joe Ross, 8.5 total in this game. Yeah, there you go. Milwaukee is a 158 favorite. Any interest here in Quinn Priester?
No, Cousin Quinn's we're not playing Cousin Quinn today. Let me tell you.
Yeah, Milwaukee. Me and Will were talking about it before the show. Like, they had so many opportunities in the first 5 innings of that game and just couldn't plate people, and it was so tilting. Keller pitched okay. Like, Keller didn't pitch phenomenal. I don't care what the stats say. Watching that game, I'm gonna tell you right now that he did not pitch phenomenal in that game. So just saying. Not playing Quinn Priester today. I will stack against him, very much so. What are your thoughts on Joe Ross on the other side of this game?
I don't want to play him either. Like, I know the ground ball rate's been there this season, but I just okay. At 5,200, Stevie, there may be some value. I don't want to play him. It would really just be a price play. But I'm not thrilled about playing Joe Ross.
I don't think anybody should be thrilled about playing Joe Ross by any means. I don't think I want to play Joe Ross either. I think I want to respect the Pittsburgh bats a little bit in this spot. So I think that's kind of where I'm at. Like, there's some really good pitching on this slate in general, and I just don't know how I'm going to get to these cheap pitchers today. I'm going to be looking for cheap bats so much. I think it might be one of those times where you're just kind of missing out on like pitching if you're paying down too much, but I don't know if he necessarily has the ceiling we're looking for either. Let's talk about the bats, the Pittsburgh bats. I mean, it's the same, 3 or 4 guys that I mentioned yesterday: Reynolds, O'Neill, Swazinski, and Tellis. I mean, when I want to attack Joe Ross, I'm looking for some power upside. He's been really solid this season, but he doesn't necessarily have a lot of like secondary stacks or advanced stats to like back up him being okay this year. So I am perfectly okay with taking some of these Pittsburgh bats today.
Yeah, same here, Stevie. I know Cruz has a high K rate, man, but he was almost one of the spring training darlings. He just kept sending the ball over the fence, kept scoring points, kept driving in runs. At 4,600, I think I'm perfectly fine playing him. You talked about Brian Reynolds, and I'm going to be fine playing him. Connor Joe, I'll be okay. Even Rowdy Tellez on the cheap end. I'm not stacking this team, but I don't hate some mini stacks. And it is what it is, man. Like I think Pittsburgh is in an interesting spot as a 3-man mini stack type deal because of the prices.
I love the fact that Vasquez came in at a lot more ownership than Soriano today, and I was able to take advantage of that. Vasquez getting beat up here by the Rockies, so that's always good.
Yeah.
Milwaukee bats, they're one of my favorite stacks on this slate, Will. I mean, again, they let us down a little bit. They got there a little bit towards the end of the game, but this is just a spot where I feel like we're loading up on the Milwaukee bats today.
Yeah, you better believe it. It's and the crazy thing is, Steve, as we've talked about, like outside of Contreras and Yelich, nobody else is over 5K. So, we're getting fairly reasonable prices on this team in another really good spot. I'm with you all over the Milwaukee Brewers. They are for sure going in the pool as one of the top stacks.
Yeah, I mean, this dude, he has a 12.6% K rate with a 230 ISO and a 350 WOBA. He's given up 52% hard hits. Like, he's generating ground balls. I mean, good for him. I mean, that's awesome. But it doesn't matter when you're getting hit this hard. We should mention that Rhys Hoskins left the game early. It was a hamstring. He came up like holding his hamstring, so I'm assuming it's a hamstring injury. Sometimes it's knee when they're like holding in that area, but I highly doubt he plays in this game. So I can't remember who replaced him. I think it was Frelick came in the game for him. But yeah, I mean, Frelick would add another lefty in this bat, and Quinn Priester just can't get lefties out, so that's probably not a bad thing either. Yankees and Twins, 8.5 total. Yankees a 136 favorite. Rodon, Paddock. Any interest here in Mr. Carlos Rodon?
Stevie, you might have to sell me on Rodon, man. Like here's what I'm saying. He is getting. It feels like he's getting better. And I think I just need to get a little bit maybe unbiased. But when I look at the numbers, it feels like he's not getting better. So that's really my issue. But I mean, recently the Ks have come up some. At 8K, I think I take a shot just because he's looking slightly better. But I'm not thrilled about it. Like, I mean, he faced Houston. He gave up 7 hits, 7 strikeouts. Faced Baltimore, 8 hits, 6 strikeouts in 4 innings. Against Milwaukee, okay, 8 strikeouts, 2 hits. But he's kind of right in the middle. I think I'm going to play him because he's 8K, Stevie. But he's not my top play by any stretch.
10 out of 10 times today, I'm finding the extra money to pay up for one of these top end guys over Carlos Rodon. Like, his advanced stats are not good. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, I mean, his strikeout rate is kind of around league average at like 23%. His whiff rate's low. His chase rate's low. His average exit velocity is really high at 90.5. He's giving up barrels at over 10% of a clip. Like, he's not generating a lot of ground balls. Like, I feel like there's a lot of regression coming to the numbers here on Carlos Rodon, and I feel like Minnesota is a team that could do that, right? Like, Minnesota is a top 10 team this season against left-handed pitching, and does that keep up? We'll see. Rodon's slider has been fantastic this year. I mean, give it credit where credit's due. His slider has been really good, but if you start looking at like his fastball, his xWOBA on his fastball is like 370. His xWOBA on his cutter is like 450. It's 370 and on his changeup and 430 on his curveball. And he only throws his slider about 20 to 25% of the time on average. Like, that's his out pitch, but every other one of his pitches is not good. So I look at this and I'm going, man, Minnesota has actually been quietly really good against left-handed pitching this season. They're 8th in WRC plus, which is great. They are 10th in ISO, which is fantastic. And then when we start looking at some of the home run numbers, they're top 15 in home runs. And I don't know, man. I just don't know if this is a spot where I could see myself playing them. They're basically average strikeout matchup and top 10 in a lot of the stats you don't want to pick on. So I think I'm out on Rodon today. Paddock on the other side of this game, I kind of have some interest in Chris Paddock today. Like, we don't have a lot of cheap pitching options today. And like, at least Chris Paddock has some strikeout ability, right? Like, he's a guy that can generate strikeouts. You're always, always, always worried about Chris Paddock's like command and his control. But if we look at his last like 4 games, he's pitched really good in 3 of those 4 games. You worry about the walks for Paddock, and his walk rate is down to like 4.8% this year. It's been fantastic. His chase rate is almost 30%. I kind of like him a little bit in this spot. I don't know. Again, I'm going to pay it for pitching as much as I possibly can today. I just want that to be like known as much as I possibly can. I'm going to pay it for pitching today. But when I'm looking under 8K and I'm trying to find like somebody that has some strikeout upside, like I think he's towards the top of the list today. Oh, the old-fashioned mute button. We get Will with the mute early in the show today. He's not used to Tuesday's podcast, so we'll give him a break.
Oh man, dang it! I don't think I got caught with the mute over at all yesterday.
I know it's that Tuesday. It's that Monday night recording. You're not used to that. We'll give you a little bit of a break.
Oh man, I don't really want to play Paddock either, but I'm with you. I get it. Like in terms of cheap arms, like who else do you want to play in this area? I mean, maybe it's Michael Walker against Seattle. Like that's probably the other cheap arm, Stevie. So yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of cheap arms, he fits the bill. He's in. I totally get it. I'm not thrilled about it. I honestly probably fade him and just play Michael Walker. That's just me, but I get
it. They say too much juice for we couldn't bet the mutes today. That's fine. I mean, I felt that way about Spencer Argetti, our spaghetti man, and it actually worked out that he was juiced up because he was at 5.5 and it was like minus 170 on the Hard Rock when I looked at it. And I was like, I can't do that. And he got 5, and I was like, I'm really glad I didn't bet that. So
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Paddock's okay. I think Paddock is okay. I don't think he's like this guy that's going to go out and light the world on fire, but I think he has strikeout upside. Any interest in the Yankees bats here?
Yeah, but I think so. Soto, I'm interested in every day, Stevie, but that's more so because I just feel like he has so many ways to generate fantasy points. And I love guys that even when they don't hit home runs, they can still get to that 18 to 20 fantasy point range, Stevie, by stealing bases, walking, driving in, some runs without hitting a home run ball. Love the home run ball. Don't get me wrong. But when you've got multiple ways to put up big scores, I love it. And that's Juan Soto for me. Stevie, Anthony Rizzo's 4,600. How about that? Why is he 4,600? He's hitting the ball some. So I can't use him as a cheap bet again, but I do think he's okay. If Wells cracks the lineup, Wells is okay. And not to bury the lead, one of their biggest power hitters is Aaron Judge. Sign me up for him as well. He can hit a home run off anyone.
Yeah, I mean, anyone could take him yard for sure. One of the things that I like in this matchup, just in general for him, is like his ability to strike out righties and like how much he like strikes out righties just in general. So, and I don't know, I don't love home road splits, but he has been way better at home this season. But yeah, I mean, I would attack him with lefties in general. So I just don't know if I'm going to get to Soto. Like on my list, I wrote down New York Yankees lefties, but one of the reasons that I like Paddock in the spot, and I don't love him, but I like him, is that like his ability to get righties out. Minnesota bats, kind of like Minnesota bats today, Will. I think, like I said, I think this is a sneaky good spot for Minnesota. I mean, obviously I have a lot of interest in Jeffers at catcher. He's really expensive, which should keep his ownership down, which I think is actually really good for us. Castro is someone that like is priced appropriately here. Miranda's cheap. I think we're going to get, a good amount of cheap righties in this Minnesota lineup today.
Yeah, same here. Jeff is definitely a guy I want to highlight, Stevie. And I feel like I've been highlighting him a lot more than usual. And every time I typically highlight him, he's been hitting home runs. So hopefully, Stevie, this works in our favor yet again. And he sends another one over the fence. But yeah, definitely love Jefferson in this spot. Like the fact that Carlos Correa has been back a few weeks, but he's cheap, Stevie. Still 4K. I think that's a great price for him. And yeah, really, really, really like this spot for him. And if you want to kind of stack this team, Stevie, old man Carlos Santana has been raking recently.
Yeah.
So at 3,800, if you're going to stack this team, I like him as well.
Oh man, Carlos Santana. Yeah, don't leave that guy out. And like he's always had like a little bit more power from the right side of the plate anyway. So like when he's facing lefties, he's been a lot better throughout his career. Like even this year, in like a fourth of the at bats, he has 3 of his 7 home runs against left-handed pitching. And like just looking at all the advanced stats for him, like he has a 153 WRC plus, 385 WOBA, and a 313 ISO against left-handed pitching this season. So yeah, I mean, I think overall this is a spot where Carlos Santana is really, really interesting. And like Vasquez, they sometimes play Jeffers at DH and they hit Vasquez at catcher. So like if he's in there as well, he's cheap. So very interested in Minnesota for all the reasons that I said when we were talking about Carlos Rendon. I mean, Cleveland at Texas. We got a 9 total pick'em game in this one. Ben Lively against Jack Leiter. Any interest here in Mr. Ben Lively?
Listen, Ben Lively's been okay most of the season. My good KBO brother in arms went over to KBO, pitched a little bit. Now, he came back last season, I think, was pitching for the Phillies, and now with Cleveland. I'm pretty sure I'm right that he was with the Phillies. But either way, I can't play him against Texas. Now, Stevie, it feels like every time I take Texas this season, they become the new Toronto Blue Jays for me. I've gotten them right some, but man, do they feel like they're cold right now, except the day I get off them, Stevie. Then they score 10 runs. I hop on, they scored 0 or 2. And I don't think I want to pick on Lively today. I do not want to play Ben Lively, Stevie, but also don't want to pick on him. I'm going to let him sit on the shelf.
He's the other guy under 8K that I actually don't hate today. A lot of the reasons that you kind of highlighted here, like he's come back this season and he's just developed like a strikeout pitch against left-handed pitching. And like, that's huge, man. Like when you're facing a team that's going to throw a lot of lefties at you, listen, the spot's terrible. I mean, this is a really good offense. Texas is one of the best offenses in baseball. No one's playing Ben Lively today. So, I mean, there is that. But overall, I probably don't get to him. But, yeah, I mean, yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. The strikeout rate is the appealing thing, but everything else kind of stinks. Jack Leiter on the other side of this game, he has not looked good. He's getting kind of hammered here, and like he's getting hammered by not so good offenses. Do you have any interest in Leiter?
No.
I was hoping we get a quick no there. I agree with you. I think this is a easy no. Maybe he's going to be good. We'll see. But like low strikeout team, we don't typically stack Cleveland a lot because their ceiling is somewhat capped sometimes, it feels like. But this might be a Cleveland stack spot.
Yeah, I'm with you. Definitely like Cleveland today, Stevie. Jose Ramirez, 6K. I am in, Josh Neal at 5,400. I played him as a one-off the other night. Definitely came through for me there. So I like him a ton. And then I think from there, Stevie, I just kind of pick and choose and add guys into my stack here because this lineup definitely changed a little bit with Quan out, and they've kind of been mixing and matching guys at the top of the lineup. I think it's been Rocchio and another guy. Who have they been? Rocchio and Florio. They've kind of been splitting the leadoff duties, but I'll just be mixing and matching around their big bats. That's basically how I'm going to play this. And I think this team will be fine. I want the big bats, and then I'll just find the other little guys and play them around like Laureano, etc.
Kind of like Cleveland. I don't know how much. It's really tough to like stack Cleveland, but I think I'd mini stack them today. Yeah. I think this is a good spot to mini stack them. I like Texas a lot too. I mean, I know you have interest in, or like you said, like Ben Lively's been really good. Texas is just a really good offense. So like whenever we get these like really good offenses, I always feel like I'm inclined to play a little bit of them, especially when I'm building out a bunch of teams. So here's the thing, right? If Ben Lively does pitch like 5 quality innings and only gives up a few runs, 2 or 3, Cleveland's bullpen is the top bullpen in baseball this year. So like we have to, somewhat remember that. So I think like if you're playing Texas, you're stacking them. And yeah, I mean, maybe I don't like them as much as I originally thought I did. Like I always forget like how good Cleveland's bullpen has been this year. And like if Lively can limit the damage and you don't get if you get the bad part of the bullpen and Lively gets rocked here, like that's where you get your upside. So I mean, I think if you're playing Texas, it's a stack.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to sit this one out with Texas, Stevie. As I mentioned, I didn't really want to play Lively because Texas is a good offense, but I also didn't really want to play Texas because Lively's been good. And so, I'm going to take the fade here on both sides and hope Texas does it. But keep in mind, Stevie, every day I've done this, 10-plus runs. So I'm taking the fade. And I'm hoping that they don't just fully like blow this slate out of worldly proportion.
Make sure I'm noting that. Got a little note that down there. Oakland at Houston, 8.5 total in this game. Houston a 188 favor. We got JP Sears going up against Blanco. Any interest here in JP Sears?
So the answer is no.
You got me there for a second. Yeah.
I've already won my shares for the year. I won't be taking it too many more times.
All right. You got me. I was like, all right, well, I'm waiting to hear this pitch. Yeah, I don't have any interest in JP Sears. Too many righties, low strikeouts. Love Blanco today. I mean, this is a guy that, and I know like, Argatti, like he didn't get like the strikeouts we were kind of hoping for, but I think Blanco is better than Argatti, and I think that this is a spot he's going to get enough righties where his strikeout upside is high enough for me to play him at 9,500. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good spot for him.
Yeah, and the other thing about Blanco, Stevie, is hopefully he should be able to complete 6 innings. And I mean, if he pitches well, then I feel like the quality start, if you're on FanDuel, and the win should be in order. If you're just on DraftKings, I definitely feel like the win should be in order if he pitches well, Stevie. If he gets through 6 innings clean and picks up the strikeouts, I think the winner is on the way. Because I don't think Sears is going to slow down this offense by any stretch of the imagination.
Any interest in the Oakland Bats?
No.
Yeah, I think that deserves a quick no for sure. Any interest in the Houston Bats?
Oh, love Houston today. Stevie, I've been playing so much Houston. I took them every start when they were in Yankee Stadium, Stevie, and that's why I was so frustrated with Rodon. Houston was just rattling off hits and could not drive them home, could not take him out of the game. I had him under 17.5 outs that day. It just didn't come together for them. But lo and behold, Stevie, punishing. I mean, just a punishing total today so far. I think they had 8 runs last I checked. And JP Sears should not be able to slow this team down. Love them today, top to bottom. Another one of the lowest strikeout teams. Jerry Pena I've been sneakily playing a lot of Jeremy Pena, Stevie, and he's been good to me. So just wanted to call him out. Think he could have a really nice day at the plate.
You know, I had a huge day on Monday night was Bregman.
Oh yeah, whew.
Love leaving him out of my stacks, but when
What?
any hitter I love leaving Bregman out of my stack. Like the home run power has been a lot less, and like he hasn't been running. Like
Yeah,
where
but you gotta
Bregman
get some with Bregman, just a touch, Stevie.
Yeah, I
Just a
mean,
touch.
the thing is, like, with Bregman is, like, where when he wasn't hitting the home runs and he was hitting, like, singles or walking, like, he still gave you the upside to, like, steal bases and, like, help his, like, overall fantasy upside, and, like, he just hasn't been running as much over the last couple of years, so, like and the power has kinda calmed down, so it's just been I've been playing Pena a lot more in, like, stacks instead of Bregman, so
Jeremy
that's
Pena's
all.
been fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
I played a lot more Pena than Bregman, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
So now that like we've like poo-pooed Bregman and I poo-pooed him, I'm definitely gonna play some of them today though. So he'll go 0 for 4. He's like, I got all my hits out for the week on Monday. St.
Yeah.
Louis at LA taking on the Angels, 7.5 total in this game. St. Louis are 148 favorites. Sonny Gray, Reed Detmers. Any interest here in Sonny Gray?
Oh man, one of the top pitchers on the slate. I know he didn't have the greatest of outings, Stevie, in that last start there against Milwaukee. No surprise for you, I'm sure. But Stevie, realistically, out of the gate, he was looking like the best pitcher in baseball. And I don't think much has changed. So I'm not really worried about it. This matchup with the Angels, he should be able to put on a dominant performance here. At 10-5, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, overall, looking at the slate, right? When I'm building out on lineup HQ, I'm gonna make a group of C's, Sonny Gray, Sale, and Blanco, and make sure I have
You're
at
doing
least
like dominators.
yeah, almost. I mean, I'm gonna make sure I have at least like one of those guys on every single lineup today. Like I'm gonna have at least one of those guys, and I want some lineups of both of them. But those 4 guys are they're in a league of their own today.
Yeah. Can you imagine if we had Glass now on this slate too? I mean, we'd be in heaven.
Oh yeah. What are we doing with Detmers? Like we love pitchers against St. Louis. It's been a thing.
I'm playing him.
He's been so bad. The strikeouts are still there, but like overall pitch, like he's allowed 7 home runs in his last 4 starts.
Stevie, listen. Our good friend Derek Ringering has spoken to us. You just play every pitcher against St. Louis, and at 8,300, Stevie, I'd be kicking myself if he went out there and pitched 6 innings, gave up 2 runs and 10 Ks. I'd be kicking myself. I don't think he's going to get a lot of ownership, so I don't have to really reach today. And that's really what it is, Stevie. If I felt like I had to reach and the ownership was going to be up, I probably don't play him. I think the game log watchers, and not that we shouldn't be looking at game logs for baseball, because I do think it's a little bit different for baseball than some other sports. I do think even the pure game log watchers that value that more than anything else are going to keep him out of lineups, which should help us. So this is another FOMO play here, Stevie, for what it's worth. St. Louis has been rough. I think he could pick up 10 strikeouts here. I'm not saying he will. I'm saying he could. And I don't want to miss out if he has one of those dominant performances.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not going to play him. I'm not going to sit here and say I am going to play him. I'm going to do a deep dive on him. Like why he was so dominant at the start of the season. Like what's going on? And I just want to kind of look and see.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't do it before the show. And I definitely want to do it. I mean, this is a spot he should dominate. But I don't know. He's had some tough matchups in these struggle games like Kansas City against lefties, Cleveland, Minnesota. We just got done talking about like Minnesota and how good like Minnesota has been against left-handed pitching this season. He faced Baltimore. The one that kind of gets me is like Tampa. Like Tampa's been awful against left-handed pitching this season, and he struggled in that outing. But I don't know. I want to play him. I want to play any pitcher against St. Louis, but I want to see like if there's some like underlining numbers on what's going on with him in those starts, and I didn't expect to like him at all, so I didn't even do it before the show to get an idea. But I want to look into it more. I'm gonna hold out my judgment until I can look into it a little bit more and kind of see what was going on in those games. Did he get BABIP in those games? I mean, he didn't in Cleveland. Man, he just got absolutely hammered in
Yeah.
Cleveland. His
He's
stats in
giving
that
up the
Cleveland
hits
game.
too and the home runs. So this is the way I felt about Aaron Nola last season, Stevie. Guys start giving up extra base hits. I have to investigate because now something's really wrong. If you get singled to death, okay, but like we talked about, Steve, and I'm with you. 7 home runs in 4 games is almost getting to be not fluky. You know what I mean? So I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, the Cleveland game, he had a 43% home run to fly ball ratio. That's not sustainable. That's way too high. I don't know. I'm gonna dig into Detmers a little bit. Honestly, I just gotta kind of look at it. Here's the thing: it's not like you're running to play any of the St. Louis bats.
Yeah,
With
I'm not
Contreras
playing
out of
St.
the
Louis
lineup right
bats.
now,
Yeah.
who are we playing, if anybody, here from the St. Louis bats?
Yeah.
Who do you like for the Cardinals? Anybody?
No one, Stevie. I'm not playing any Cardinals bats.
Soriano's doing his thing where it's hey, I'm in my 3rd time through the rotation and I am gassed and I can't throw strikes anymore. So hopefully whoever the reliever is that's coming in for Soriano here can get a double play and we can get out of this without too much more damage. So I don't really love the Cardinals in this spot. Unless the only thing that I'll say is when I do a deep dive, if I find something on Detmers that I don't like, that is where I might play some Cardinals bets. So I just want to throw that out there. Right now, Cardinals, I mean, they're awful. They've been awful all year. But if I'm seeing something in Detmers that makes me question whether or not he is healthy or something's going on, or maybe just got unlucky a lot. But if something comes out of that deep dive on Detmers, I might play some Cardinals bats. I can tell you for certain, though, I'm not playing any Angels bats today.
Yeah, negative. No way. No way.
Cincinnati at Arizona. 8.5 total on this game, and it's a pick'em game. We got Hunter Green against Slade. Any interest here in Hunter Green?
I have some interest, Stevie, just because we talked about Arizona and how they've had their struggles. And I think Hunter Green, man, the strikeout stuff is it's phenomenal. And he could easily, in my opinion, get 7 to 10 strikeouts here. So I just kind of don't want to miss out on that. He's got the upside, and I love Arizona as a team, but I think I think Hunter Green, man. I think he's a really good pitcher. If his control is on, Stevie, doesn't walk too many guys, this could be a good performance for him. So I'm going to be playing Hunter Green for sure.
I'm going to say the same thing I said about Ashcraft yesterday. This is Hunter Green's facing the same thing he just faced. We saw it here on Monday night. Ashcraft is getting worked way deep into counts. He's getting hit. They're hitting home runs. I think he's allowed 7 hits in 3 innings. I just hate the spot. I hate the fact that he has to face the same team back to back. And it's not like the ballpark's great. The walks have been awful for Green. And yeah, I mean, Arizona has struggled, but I prefer the Arizona side way more than I prefer the Hunter Green side. They didn't even entice us with the price. They're hey, we're just going to leave him at his highest price. And I'm just paying up at this point. If I'm going to Hunter Green, I'm finding the extra money to get to a Blanco. So I'm not touching Hunter Green today. Ciccone on the other side of this one, Slade Ciccone. And same thing for him. He just faced this team. This is not what you want, right? You don't want to face a team in back-to-back starts. Anything the team picked up in that start, when they're doing their scouting reports, they're going to be hey, do you guys remember this? Do you remember this and this? As a pitcher, you want to, the first time through the order, you want to definitely kind of fool the lineup on like what you're going to throw first pitch, where you're going to throw it. Like now he has to come out and 5 days later and face the same team and say, all right, I'm probably not going to be fooling this team very often, and they're going to hit me harder. And we see this. I don't have the stats. I don't know what the stats are. As a pitcher, hated facing the same team within like a month of each other. So I mean, I can't even speak to facing the same team 5 days later. I'm not playing Ciccone here today.
Yeah, man, I'm with you 100%. Ciccone, the guy I won't be touching today, Stevie. Yeah, and I do agree with you on the same pitcher see the team twice. I'm just banking on maybe Hunter Green could put together a performance. I don't want to miss out on some of his upside. But Ciccone, definitely not playing him.
Leave it to Goldschmidt to get us that double play. Gotta love it. Cardinals are so bad, man. All right, we'll take that out of Soriano. Hopefully, we can get the win too. But good outing for him. Let's talk bats. I love the bats in this game. I think this is a game that we kind of want to load up on these bats. Will, thoughts here on the Cincinnati bats?
Yeah, man. Love Cincinnati. I mean, Ellie ought to have his way today, Stevie, in this particular spot. We talked about Steer. He's another guy that, I mean, has just been playing well. Fraley is probably going to crack the lineup here again. He'll be ready to roll. Candelario at the bottom of this order, Stevie, 3,500. Jonathan India, 3,600. While he's been seemingly unproductive at times in this spot, just this cheap, wanting to get exposure to this team in Arizona, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in. I like both sides of this game. I have a ton of interest in this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. On the Arizona side, again, like Hunter Green's walks can be a huge issue here. I just want to stack this game up. I want to play both sides of this game, and I mean, I again just really like this spot. Arizona bats for you?
I don't think I'm going to play too many Arizona bats, Stevie. Maybe Marte, maybe Carroll because he's got some upside. Maybe Jock, but like I don't plan to load up on this team today. I'm going to try to get Hunter Green in there and stick to my guns on that one.
Yeah, I mean, got to play what you like. Yeah, I mean, I like Jock Peterson a lot. Ketel Marte, like you mentioned, Christian Walker, like those three guys. I'll build around those guys and obviously get some Carroll. Pavin Smith was in the lineup on Monday night. He was cheap, so yeah, I mean, just it's hard for me not to have a ton of interest in Arizona today.
Pavin Smith, I actually love when he gets to call up, Stevie, because he's like 3K for like feels like 2 weeks before they ever do anything. Love the Pavin Smith when he gets some extended play time.
Yeah, I mean these late guys definitely carrying me tonight. Peterson hit a home run already, so Houston doing well. Kansas City at Seattle, 7.5 total. Seattle a 158 favorite. We got Waka and Gilbert facing off against each other. Any interest here in Mr. Waka?
Yeah, man, 6,800. Like Michael Walker here. I think there will be some extra strikeout upside versus this Seattle lineup. We can't express enough, Stevie, how many high K bats, and by high, we're not talking about 21, 22. See, we're talking about 25 plus K rates on almost this whole lineup. Some guys are in the 30s. So I like Michael Walker quite a bit. As long as he can have some quick innings, Stevie, I think it's a good spot for him at 6,800. I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't mind him under 7K. Got some upside. I worry about him getting chalky on the slate. So, like, ownership, definitely something I'll look at here on Waka. Strikeouts. You're playing him for the strikeouts. He doesn't have a huge strikeout rate against righties, but he generates more ground balls. But they're going to throw a lot of lefties, and that's kind of where he's excelled with his strikeout stuff this year. So, yeah, I mean, I don't hate Waka. Love the fact that he threw like 100 pitches last time out. He's had some big starts already this year where he's shown some upside. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's okay. The price, he's 6,800 against Seattle. Logan Gilbert had a rough start last time out against Minnesota. I expect him to bounce back here. I like the price tag at 9,200. hate the matchup. Kansas City is a good offense. Any interest here in Gilbert?
I feel the same way I did about the same Kirby. I feel the same way about Gilbert, Stevie, and I reasonably priced, but do I for sure need him on this slate? I don't think so. So I think I'm going to fade him in a matchup against Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's okay. I think Kirby's actually, last time I checked, Kirby was actually pitching pretty good. But yeah, I think Gilbert. I like the potential. I like the potential bounce back spot here for him, and I don't think he's going to get any ownership. Kind of why I like him. I won't play a lot of him. Like he probably ends up on 3 to 5 of my 20 entry max build. I just like the ownership and potential here. So he's been pitching like Seattle. The Seattle pitching like rotation in general has just been so good this year. So it's really hard not to have a little interest.
Yeah, I'm jealous, man. I'm jealous here. And not jealous in a negative way, but I just wish Spencer Strider was healthy. And our pitching staff would be worldly better.
Yeah. I mean, our pitching staff for the Red Sox, the only thing that we have to actually be thankful for this year. So, any interest here in the Kansas City Bats?
No, I'm not thrilled, man. Like I was probably more interested versus Kirby than I am Gilbert. I don't think I'm really going to play too many Kansas City Bats, but I feel like they're going to cancel each other out, and so I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine with the fade. We got one more really good matchup coming up here, so I'm going to fade.
You got the Dodgers plus 190 and they're down by 1 run in the 6th. I feel like that's a really good number.
Feeling good.
Yeah. I mean, anytime I can get that kind of number on the Dodgers, only down a run to the Giants.
Yeah.
It instantly moved, by the way. I went back to like look at it and was gonna like recommend it, and it moved instantly. But I definitely hit that live bet. So
yeah.
You want to guess what it moved to? It was plus 190 when I hit it just a second ago.
Plus 120?
Plus 125.
Okay.
Within it's funny. I love when that happens. Seattle Bats, any interest in the Seattle Bats here?
I don't mind a one-off, even I know, Walker's been good. I don't mind a one-off against him with Cal Raleigh. But generally speaking, of course, Rojas has been fantastic. But generally speaking, I'm not playing bats from this team. Yeah, this game is almost a cross-off for me on both sides. Almost outside of Walker.
Here's what I'll say. This is what I'm going to say. I might play a little Walker today. If Walker gets some ownership, like if he comes in, Suarez like 20% on Monday night projected ownership. If he comes in at like 20% projected ownership today, I will probably build 1 or 2 Seattle stacks in my 20 entry build, like 5-man stacks. Close my eyes and just play the talent of these guys against because Michael Wacha isn't this overpowering pitcher that's going to go out and dominate you. He's a solid pitcher, but if he's going to be chalky just because he's facing a strikeout heavy offense, he can walk people, he can give up home runs. I don't hate the idea of building a little bit of a leverage stack for Seattle if Wacha is going to get some ownership today.
Yeah, I get it.
That tournament brain just can't shut off, right? At the end of the day, the tournament brain and trying to find game theory and leverage spots that actually make sense, it just can't turn off. And Seattle has so much ceiling that in the past, the talent is there. It's just they've been awful this year. They're free swinging. Colorado at San Diego, 7.5 total in this game. The Padres, a 275 favorite. Cal Quantrill against Dylan Cease.
Easy. This is going to be easy.
Any interest here in Cal Quantrill?
No.
Gotta ask. But we're playing Dylan Cease today.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
one of the longest leashes in baseball, coming off of just a dominant performance against the Cubs. I mean, this is a guy, he has at least 7 strikeouts in all but 2 starts this year. You know, this is a guy we're just 11K is a tough ask, but he's worth every penny in this spot.
Yes, Stevie. I mean, quick no, quick yes for Dylan Cease. Like you talked about, man. I mean, I figured coming over to San Diego would help him. Like, just get him rolling, pitching in the ballpark. You pitch in Petco is typically really good for pitchers most of the time. And so at home, Steve, I'm really expecting him to mow this lineup down. I'm not expecting 12. I am expecting about 8, though. I think 8 is like the reasonable expectation, Stevie, and then it only goes up from there. So I love Dylan Cease today.
He got 8 in course with his stuff not moving as well.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. 8, I think, is the reasonable expectation, and it only goes up.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a big game here from Dylan Cease today. His strikeout prop on FanDuel right now is 8.5. Like, minus 112 at 8.5. Big line. And yeah, I mean, this, like I said, he struck out 8 in course, and his stuff.
Do they have the alts up yet?
No, that's the only. They don't even have like any of the other stuff up for this game. Just
I'd almost be inclined to just take 10 at. Let me see. He's at minus 114. You think they give you 10 at around plus 200?
No.
180-ish?
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's probably going to be like 160, 170, 180. Yeah, in that range.
Okay.
Well, okay, so like Hard Rock, it's the alt line is like 9.5 usually. It doesn't have like 10. So
gotcha. Yeah, FanDuel does like the evens, like 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
10. So okay.
So I mean, maybe. Any interest in the Colorado Bats?
No.
That is a smart no. I'm with you. No interest at all. Like, they made a little sense with like leverage on Monday night, but not Dylan Cease is no. He's not Vasquez. I love the Padres bats again. Cal Quantrill's not good. You know, this is a team that we talked about a lot yesterday against Dakota Hudson. I hate the ballpark, but I love the idea of getting some San Diego bats against Cal Quantrill.
Yes, Stevie. I mean, I love this team today. I already shot my boy Kirk Dees a message on Twitter when the score was 5-1 Colorado and said the gutless rankings are in full effect yet again. But man, at some point, this has got to die. Like, Stevie, this team is too good.
Profile just said on run, so it's 5-3.
All right. Okay.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
You didn't beat up on Dakota Hudson. That's just not like, I mean
yeah. Exactly. Stevie, I think you have to play this team though. Like, come on, man. Like, they're facing Cal Quantrill. I will say this. Cal Quantrill, Stevie, has continued to find ways to pitch 6 innings. How, I have no clue, but he's found ways. But gosh, he's not going to do that against San Diego today, is he? Michael letting you know also that the Dodgers have tied it up. So, Stevie, it's getting juicy here at plus 190.
I'm just telling anybody, if you ever see the Dodgers with 2 or 3 innings left, definitely 3 innings, like at down by a run and plus 190, that's an insta bet for me. Insta bet.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. We finish out the slate with the Dodgers. Hey, Dodgers and Giants, 8.5 total. Dodgers a 156 favorite. Gavin Stone, Keaton win.
Keaton lost because he shouldn't win this game.
Any interest here in Mr. Stone?
I sure hope he comes out with some stones today, Stevie, because I need the Dodgers to win this game. And I actually don't hate Gavin Stone, Stevie. At 7,900, closer to 8K, has pitched reasonably well. I think he'll be okay for the price. And not only has he pitched reasonably well, Steve, he's been able to get through innings. Like, he had 95 pitches in that Toronto game. I think if he's close, like let's say he comes out in 6 innings, he's run 83 pitches. I think as long as he completes it within a reasonable amount of time, he's going to clear another 6 innings. So I like Gavin Stone today. Hopefully he shows up for us.
Yeah, I mean, I like the matchup. Like, did you see the Giants lineup that they rolled out on Monday?
Oh,
And
I did.
I know Yamamoto got hit a little bit, right? But I mean, it's really hard not to have interest. Like that Giants lineup rolled out, and I was like Yamamoto, Soriano, and didn't even think twice about it. And I know Yamamoto got hit. It's only at like 68 pitches, so like if they can get a lead here and like Yamamoto can sneak out a win, like he still has like the potential to maybe get to 20, but not what you wanted. Especially when you saw that lineup, you're like, oh my gosh, this is a Yamamoto spot. Gavin Stone's not a bad pitcher. He's had some tough spots. Pitched really well last time out against Miami. Yeah, I mean, overall, I think this is a spot you could take some shots on Gavin Stone. I could tell you for certain though, on the other side, I'm not taking a shot on Mr. Wynn.
Yeah, same here. Not doing it. I don't care if he's 5K. It's the Dodgers.
He's done a great job. Well, let's get credit where credit's due. He's done a great job generating ground balls this year. He's at 58%. He's done really well with some strikeouts against like lefties, but like all of this stuff, like all of his advanced stats suggest that like he has a lot of regression coming to his numbers against lefties. Like he has a 25% K rate, but his whiff rate is under 20%. His swinging strike rate's under 10%. Like you can't keep up a 25% K rate if you're not generating enough whiffs. So that's going to regress. And we've seen it, right? Last 2 times out, 1 strikeout in 2 outings. Just absolutely got hammered by Philadelphia last time, like 2 starts ago. Mm-hmm. Hate this spot for Win. Love the Dodgers today. Loading up on the Dodgers again. I mean, not even thinking twice about it.
Yep. Absolutely. With you 100%. Another top tier team, Stevie, that you probably should be playing every day or most days. And today's no different.
Cardinals have the bases loaded with no outs. Can we get out of this with
no outs?
And no outs. That's a painful one.
Stevie, all this is going to be is a repeat of the Washington Nationals last year. Washington did this every day. It'd be a ground out. They'll be a ground out, Stevie. They'll catch the guy at home, and then it'll be a double play, and they won't score any runs. Derek saying they failed because we're talking this up, Stevie. A grand slam on the way, no doubt about it. Well,
probably. It is Matt Moore on the mound, so.
Oh man, old Matt
probably
Moore.
some walks and stuff in line there, but maybe he can generate a ground ball and get a double play or something.
I think the last time Matt Moore had a starting job, he was either with the Giants or the Rays. One of the two. Stevie.
Do you remember the Matt Moore no hitter?
Who was it against? I don't remember right off the top of my head.
I forget how many. He threw like a gazillion pitches in that start. I forget. I'm not like thinking this up right in my head. Like Matt Moore did throw a no hitter, right?
He probably did. I mean, he pitched long enough for sure. So yeah.
Oh, he lost a no hitter with 1 out left to go. Maybe he didn't throw a no hitter. Seager got a hit. He had a no hitter through 8 2/3. I really thought he had a no hitter.
Gotcha. Who was he pitching for? Giants or Rays?
He was pitching for the Giants.
Okay,
but he threw like a gazillion pitches in that start, and I just remember like wanting to stack against him because I think he threw like 100 and something, like 128 or 138 pitches or something.
Ooh, good.
It was a lot. I remember wanting to stack against him. That's all I remember. But yeah. I thought he completed it, but what I'm reading here is he gave it up with 2 outs against Corey Seager when Seager used to play for the Dodgers. So
yeah.
All right. Morning grind game, and then we'll get out of here. Under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. Who do you got today?
I think we have 2 or 3 strong options. I think I'm just going to go with my boy Michael Walker and hope he gets it done for us.
Walker. I'm going to go way off the board today and say Chris Paddock gets 6 or more strikeouts.
I get it.
Over 8K to score under 15. Who's your bust today?
The layup, I think, is Nick Pivetta. And then outside of that, give me Carlos Rodon, man. Sorry, I know I did two, but
I mean, you didn't take my guy. You like my guy, so we're on the opposite ends of my pick today, and that's Hunter Green. I am not playing Hunter Green today. Over 4K to hit a home run. Who is going yard?
Oh man, Steve, I don't think you like this guy either. But he's got a really good shot. Well, you probably do. Give me Jose Ramirez at 6K. It's just the team I think you didn't like. Obviously, I think you like Cleveland, but just 6K. Give me Jose Ram.
Matt Carpenter, lefty against Matt Moore. Blown win for Soriano. Gotta love it. Cardinals. I mean, no, I mean I like Cleveland. I don't know if I said this before. I don't know if I full stack Cleveland today, but I like Cleveland in general. So I mean I can get behind that pick for sure. I'm going to that game that I mean I like both sides of this game a lot, but I'm gonna go with Mr. Jock Peterson. Scheduled tweet home run here. Hit one on Monday night, gonna stay hot and hit another one here on Tuesday night. Give me Jock Peterson to go yard. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bet that you like?
See, I think I'm going to try to pick on Rodon here. Give me my good buddy Carlos Santana at 3,800. Old man Carlos Santana. I mean, listen, man, he's been hitting the ball really well. I like what I'm seeing. Love the price. And hopefully they don't raise it again because he doesn't get played a lot.
When you need a game shut down, you bring in Matt Moore. That one made me laugh. I like it. I'm gonna go to my I know. I'm gonna go to my Brewers here. Give me Joey Ortiz, 3,200, going up against Cousin Quinn for you there.
Ooh, Cousin Quinn's gonna get beat down today.
Yeah, tough spot. Really tough spot. Any interest or no? Moving on. Stack to score 6 or more runs here.
I think we've got a lot of options, Stevie. I'm going with Houston, man. Going back to the well with them. I know they put up a nice score, but I think they can. I think they hammer Sears here.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to say the Dodgers, but I feel like that's just cheating. So I won't say the Dodgers. Give me San Diego just hit another home run. Jackson Merrill. Give me. Hold on, I'm looking to see which bullpen's worse. I like both sides of this game. I'm trying to give me the Reds. Give me Cincinnati to score 6 or more runs today against. I already forgot. Oh, Ciccone. No, I was trying to think of the pitcher, but yeah, give me the Reds to get it done here. Betting side, any player props or pick'em plays that you like here on this slate?
I was trying to find some, Steve. I didn't really see much up right now. So what I will say is I actually think Detmers might come in at 5.5 strikeouts today. And while he's been getting blown up, I don't think the strikeouts have been a real problem. At 5.5, I'm in. I feel like Blanco's going to come in at 6.5, but if he comes in at 5.5, I'm in also.
One of my favorite bets today is not on the slate, but I'm assuming this comes in close to even money, maybe a little bit of juice, but Gunnar Henderson over 1.5 total bases against Chris Bassett. I really, really like that one today.
Man, yeah.
Yeah. So watch that line. If it comes in anywhere close to even money or you pay a little bit of juice, I think I'd bet that to like minus 120. I really like Gunnar Henderson today against Chris Bassett. So I looked through a lot of stuff. I'm going to be looking for like Chris Sale's strikeout prop. I really like that. I want to see what Chris Paddock's strikeout prop comes in at. It's out 4.5. Love that. There you go. That's my bet for today. Chris Paddock over 4.5 strikeouts. You get it on FanDuel at minus 125. I like that a lot today. Any lines that you like here? Over unders against the spread, money lines?
Man, I don't money lines aren't speaking to me today. I think this is a good one though, Stevie. Give me Baltimore -1.5, +135. I think they can score. I think they can score more than 2 runs. I know that's off the board. You just talked about it, but Chris Bassett and these lefties, Stevie, it's going to be a problem in this matchup. Wouldn't you agree? It's going to be a real problem, or it should be a real problem.
It should be.
Yeah, I like that. And then one more for you, Stevie, which I hope this isn't yours. If so, I'm sorry. You can get the Brewers at -1.5 at +135. I just think that's wrong against Cousin Quinn. Cousin Quinn's going to be struggling here. So, yeah, give me the Brewers -1.5 +135.
Mr. Gerg says Gunnar Henderson over 1.5 total bases is +105 on DK right now. Yep. I like the over in the Arizona-Cincinnati game. It's at 8.5. Both of these pitchers just faced these two offenses last time out. Talked about that when we were breaking down the game. It's a really tough spot as a pitcher to come back to. And I mean, that game scored 9 runs with these guys facing each other the first time. So I like the over 8.5 in this Arizona-Cincinnati game. Will, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Brother, I really enjoyed the pod, man. You know, going back to back was cool, and I thank you for having me. And not only we're going back to back, Stevie, I'll be back for Friday's pod. That was the surprise yesterday. Not only is Dean coming on this week, you get a three-peat.
I'm not going to even message Dean. I have a feeling he'll forget or he won't remember. So I'll probably be solo tomorrow. Let's not get everybody excited. So I'm just going to start the stream at 10 o'clock and hope that he forgets and not even message him. So, let's hold out hope that happens. All right. So appreciate you hanging out as always, Mr. Chief, Mr. Will. Appreciate chat hanging out as well. Always fun. If you want to hang out with us live here as we're recording the show, YouTube, RotoGrinders Morning Grind, subscribe, turn on the bell so you know when we go live. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully solo without Dean talking baseball.